Hey guys, this is Jason with Mana Properties, and today I want to answer this question: how much does an acre of land sell for in Texas? Now, this is a great question, and oftentimes people ask this when they're thinking about selling property or maybe buying property, and maybe you've heard someone give you a general term like an acre of land is worth so much in this state. If you have a piece of property and you're wondering how much an acre of land sells for in Texas or in Oklahoma or in Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Tennessee, or any other state for that matter, then I want to tell you today that there simply is not a very clear and easy cookie cutter answer. Okay, an acre of land is going to vary depending on several factors, but I do want to today talk to you a little bit about these factors and how you can do some initial research to see a general idea of possibly what you could get for your property. So a few different factors are obviously the location. If you're talking about rural land, which is way out in the middle of nowhere, it's not going to bring as much as a nice piece of property on the edge of a major city in the suburbs. Another big factor, very important, is the topography. So is this property in the flood zone? Is it on the side of a mountain? Is it flat? Is it walkable? Is it rolling? What's the topography look like? Another factor that's very important is the use. So how is this property to be used, right? How can it be used? What are the local county restrictions on the property? Another thing is layout. So how does it lay out? What's the shape of it? Is a landing strip. I've seen properties that are just 100 feet wide and that are a half a mile long. So obviously what you can do with that property is not going to be as ideal as just a square. How's the property layout? And another thing in layout is, is it completely covered with brush and trees that would need to be cleared? Or are there already fields? Are there roadways? Does it have a driveway put in? What kind of improvements are there on the property? And another thing is the time on the market. So how fast are you looking to sell the property? Because some people want to sell the property, some people just want to advertise the property, okay? And that's going to vary greatly. Now, I do want to mention disclosure versus non-disclosure states, right? So Texas is actually a non-disclosure state. And what does this term mean? With a disclosure state, there are certain states in the United States that by law require, if I sell property to you or you sell property to me, that we disclose to the county recorder the amount of that sale, of that purchase or of that sale, right, that transaction. And then that goes into public record where anyone can look that up and you can find accurate comps or comparisons of properties that were sold recently or in your area. That's very nice if you're in one of those states. Texas, however, along with Missouri and several others, are non-disclosure states, meaning the government does not require and does not know how much is actually the property actually is sold for or bought for. So that transaction information is private. Now that's nice when you're fulfilling the transaction, especially if you're selling something you really don't want, the nosy neighbors to know or other people to poke into your business. It's very nice. However, it makes it hard to track exactly what property is selling for. So with that in mind, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. I want to jump over here and I want to show you a few tools that I do use on occasion. So if you have a large piece of property, particularly agricultural property like farmland, acre value could be a great tool. So acrevalue.com, and here we are in Texas, and you can see a little bit of a parcel sample over here. It says, an average price per acre, the size, John Doe, and this one in particularly is supposedly in Brown County, Illinois. It also talks about the crops. So acre value is usually based off of information or data for income producing farmland. It's going to show you the yields for crops in that area per year and what the property could potentially make in profit if a person wants to invest in it. So in larger parcels and particularly farmland, acre value could be a very good tool to give you accurate data. Now, those factors I mentioned, like the layout, the topography, here it's very important, the soil type in this type of property, those are still going to affect what the property could potentially be worth per acre. Okay, but it's a good start. Now, this is a paid subscription. They do give you a few free reports but you have to sign up, and there's a little bit of a fee, but it could be definitely worth it. Now, another idea, if maybe you say, I don't have farmland, I just have a piece of land that's just, trees and grass, and I'd like to know what it's worth per acre. You could go to landwatch.com. Now, Landwatch is one of the major sites on the internet for buying and selling property, so it'd be a great place to start. And when you go to Landwatch, I've just went ahead and pulled up Rusk County, Texas. It's a county just to the east of Tyler in East Texas, just as an example. No particular reason there, I just pulled that up. So you can see as I typed that in here and click search, it brought up my active filters. So I'm in this state of Texas, I'm looking at the county of Rusk, and I chose undeveloped. So it's important that you click on some property types. You could actually choose more, but you definitely don't want to have houses or ranches or commercial probably in this unless your property is commercial or has a house on it, right? Because what that's going to do is if I choose that, it's going to bring up parcels that have houses. So here we have 26 acres, but it's got $1 million house on it. So it's not going to give me accurate comparison information, right? So I'm just going to deselect that. And you can actually choose the property size, area, many different things, the price range. So you can choose that, and then you'll see some listings. So you can see this particular property is $109,000 for 30 acres. So that particular property is about $3,600 an acre. We're looking at this one. This is quite a bit more. It's closer to $6,000 an acre, right? You can see different prices. Here, this one, $225,000 for 50 acres, so it's about $4,500 an acre. So what you'd want to do is you want to just find the price of the property, divide it by the acreage. It gives you a per acre amount, and then you want to find a market average. So you need to look at least 20 different properties in that area that are for sale, and you're going to go ahead and multiply those out per acre, and then create an average. Add all of those per acre prices together, divide it by the 20, and it will give you an average market price per acre of what land here or in any county in Texas or anywhere in the United States could be selling for. Now, one thing I want to point out here is this is not properties that actually sold. As they say in real estate, it never hurts to ask. There's quite a bit of negotiation room on a real estate transaction, so often people will jack up the marketing price considering or taking for granted that buyers are going to negotiate that price down. So this $109,000 piece could very well sell for $80,000, and we won't know that, right? A broker could actually get accurate information for you if you pay for them to do a report, but that's just something to think about and keep in mind. Now, another site here is Zillow. Most of you probably know what Zillow is. It's often used for houses, but I'll show you how to find land. Here we are, Rusk County, Texas again, just east of Tyler, and I showed the boundary of the county lines. Now you can see that I have houses that have popped up here. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to deselect houses. All right, now it's just showing land. Now, something to keep in mind on Zillow, a couple quick things, is that it's showing agent listings, but there are also other listings, right? So there are other listings. When a land investor like myself or someone that buys and sells lands that's not an agent, when they list a property, it shows up here in other listings, okay? So you want to always check out the other listings too. There could be some deals on there. We've chosen land, and now let's say we want to look at properties that are more in our parcel's size. So say we're looking at properties that are at least 20 acres because we have a larger piece of property. Something to consider is that a property from 20 acres on up usually get a little bit cheaper in the price per acre with larger parcels. Oftentimes a smaller parcel, especially if it has good access and utilities, a 6 acre, 10 acre parcel will be worth more because someone's potentially going to build a house on there or a little farm. They're going to live on the property. Whereas larger parcels are usually seen for recreation, hunting, timberland, things like that. So we're going to go ahead and choose here under more, 20 acres to 50 acres, and that will go ahead and show us everything available. Now maybe we also want to see things like in Longview or Tyler, White House, or just a little bit outside this border. So we just click remove boundary, and it'll show up all the properties for sale in that size range. and it's got 61 agent listings and there's 8 other listings. So we can see here 29 acres for $92,000, right? We can jump over here to the agent listings. There's 24 acres for $68,000, right? We can do the math. As you go down, all different prices, but this gives you some comparative data that you could use to potentially figure out kind of a market average price and what your home could be or your land could be worth. Okay, now do consider what I said earlier. These are prices that are market price, and land often can sit on the market, as you see here. 180 days is actually not that long on the market for a piece of property. Okay, land can take a long time to sell. A house will sell very quickly usually, or could sell very quickly if the price is right, because people can get financing for a house, especially their personal residence, very easily. There are government programs, even young families that are just starting can usually get first-time home buyers credits and things of that sort. With land, it's not so easy. Often banks do not want to loan for property, especially in that 20 to 100 acre range, 10 to 100 acre range. When you get into very large agricultural use properties, often they can get an ag use loan, but in properties in this price range, it's very hard to get financing on, and that can actually make it hard to find a buyer. So properties will sit on the market for a long time. So generally speaking, land, in order to get market price, will sit for a long time, which is why sometimes people accept quite a bit lower offer than what we're actually seeing here. So if you have a piece of property and you think, okay, I've got an idea off these sites, but I need to sell my property quickly and I want to know what a cash buyer is actually willing to pay. It's very simple. Go to checklands.com, and Checklands is a website that connects land investors, people like myself who are land buyers, cash land buyers, and you just go ahead and click here. There are actually some cool educational resources down here on the site as well. You can go in the Learn tab and you can connect with videos like this, but you just click on yes, I want to sell my land, and it will take you to a submission form, okay? And I've already started to fill this out. Texas, we were looking at Rusk County, rural vacant land. Let's just say we have 20 acres. Now, property street address. If you have a street address for the property, go ahead and put it in. If it's just a piece of land out in the county and you don't know, you could put the county road down or just write rural vacant land and the zip code. And then, are you the owner and what's your email address and phone number? This is for the land investors that are going to bid on your property or give you an offer to be able to contact you. And then you want to answer, is this with a real estate? No, a real estate agent, and it's not. How did you acquire this property? Property ID, this is very important. Try not to miss this step if you fill this out. This is the tax ID or parcel number. Sometimes it's called the APN, Assessor's Parcel Number. And then you can put, if you have unpaid taxes or back taxes, maybe you have $1,000 in unpaid taxes or even more. Many land investors here in this network are willing to buy the property from you for cash and take care of all those taxes. Are there any HOA fees? Just a few other questions. Maybe in structures or improvements, right? If we put yes, maybe we could say there's an old barn that needs to be taken down, right? Just be honest and put whatever attributes or whatever information you know, even if you don't know anything about the property. Just takes about 2 minutes to fill this out, and what you would like to get out of the property. Now, as I mentioned before, what a person asks and what investors are willing to pay for the property can be often two different things, but feel free to put that in, and then your eagerness to sell. And then, so just take a couple of minutes and fill this out, and then click on this button, Send Me Offers. And once you've clicked that, as long as you've filled out all the fields, it's going to go ahead and submit that to a network of land buyers. Now, these are people that are professional land buyers. They buy for cash, and they're going to give you a real cash value offer on your property. This is a great way to see how you could sell it quickly and for cash, and to start a conversation with potential buyers that could take that property off your hands for you. Okay, so thank you for watching this video today. I hope that it's a help to you, and I'd encourage you, if you have property you'd like to sell, go to Check Lands to the submission page and feel free to submit that to our network of cash buyers.